Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Friday, the 27th of February. India to have a growth rate of 8.5%, says Economic Survey ahead of general budget. Death toll in Afghanistan avalanche crosses 220. And new provincial government in India's Jammu and Kashmir to be sworn in on Sunday. And now for all the details. The death toll in the fatal avalanche that hit northeastern Afghanistan has risen to 220 on Friday. Several others still remain missing as rescuers widened their search in the disaster that struck the Panjshir province on Wednesday.
Rescue workers kept looking for survivors of one of the worst string of deadly blizzards that hit various parts of Panjshir region on Thursday. Over 1,000 Afghan soldiers and scores of locals have been deployed to help in the rescue work. Harsh weather conditions and deep snow continues to slow down the search work to reach isolated villages which remain buried under the thick snow. Aggrieved families of the victims laid to rest their loved ones on Thursday.
همی که خشاوندی بودیم تو مثلا نظم یک وطن هستیم از یک دیودیات هستیم در ضمن بچه خاله ما یک تا بوده اینجا دیگه اینی میاد اثر زمین کو بودن برف اومده یارو گرفته برف بود.
Extreme cold conditions were also reported from various parts of the country, including capital Kabul. Normal life was hit as the cold added misery to the refugees living in makeshift tents in the outskirts of the capital city.
زندگی یخ از سرد است و اینم تو مسلمان وری کل مردم از دیگه اون هوا سرد است اینا دید بغل خیمه موسون ما با دای طرف ما ما با اینجا یک میده خوش شو تا صبح پشتکاو میکش استفاده اینم اول که بود زغال استفاده میکردیم حالا که زغال نیست چه به در میتیم زیر صندلی میمونیم خلاص دیگه چیز بخاری نیست که پرداخت بخاری باشه که دخروار سه خروار چه باشه که چی کنی.
The avalanche, said to be the strongest in nearly 30 years, hit Bazrak, the provincial capital of Panjshir province, beginning late on Tuesday. The isolation of these areas also makes it nearly unfeasible for rescue teams to reach the accident spot on time.
India's forecast GDP growth of as much as 8.5% in the coming fiscal year. This comes just a day before the country unveils its federal budget. The stakes are high, with both voters and businesses looking for more clarity on how Narendra Modi's government is planning to revive the economy. A report.
Many Indians want only one thing from this year's budget: for any policy change to actually make a difference in their day-to-day.
बजट से यही अपेक्षा रहती है कि अगर उसमें थोड़ा डिक्रीज हो प्राइस में तो कार लेने का सपना पूरा हो सकता है और बजट से यही अपेक्षा है कि थोड़ा कार में अलग अलग सेगमेंट में थोड़ा प्राइस में कम हो जाए तो एक कार लेने का सपना है जो आम आदमी का वो पूरा हो सकता है और मैं भी वही सपनों के साथ यही देखने आई हूँ गाड़ियाँ.
Businesses too have high expectations. Right at the top of their list, the long-awaited goods and services tax, foreign participation in infrastructure building, and a clear roadmap for growing the manufacturing industry. Foreign firms have also been clamoring for a simpler tax regime. But the real budget, which was unveiled Thursday, generally fell short of expectations, and that's curbed optimism in some circles.
You know, we're talking about the growth of the GDP, and the GDP growth can only happen once the railways can come back on track, because a good logistics system in the country is extremely important if the government of India has to fulfill all its expectations and dreams of, you know, bringing Make in India, getting an 8-10% GDP growth. So all of that is very important.
Mr. Modi's critics say, so far his 9-month-old administration has promised much more than it has delivered.
Whatever they are planning is going to be so expensive that is beyond the reach of the Aam Aadmi. So what are their objectives that we'll have to wait and see. अब ये बुलेट ट्रेन की बात कर रहे हैं, इन सब ऐसे चीज़ों की बात कर रहे हैं जिसको बनाने के लिए जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की ज़रूरत है वो तो है नहीं अपने पास. ना आपके पास अब कोई कानून है जिस तरीके से ज़मीन की आप एक्विजिशन करेंगे.
But foreigners are willing to give Modi more time. Ratings agency Standard & Poor's in fact sharply raised India's growth forecast for the year, citing rising investment and low oil prices. But to earn an upgrade in credit rating, S&P says the country must cut its fiscal deficit and prove it can see through all the promised reforms.
The United Nations have once again urged the Bangladesh government and the opposition to come together to end the ongoing political violence in the country. This comes as the 20-party alliance led by Bangladesh Nationalist Party has warned of more strikes in the coming days.
UN General Secretary Ban Ki-moon said he is deeply concerned by the ongoing political tensions in Bangladesh, which has claimed 102 lives so far. He reiterated his appeal to the government and the opposition to come together and find a peaceful solution to de-escalate the situation. The UN chief's renewed appeal comes even as the opposition-led alliance on Thursday warned of more blockades in Bangladesh. The BNP has been enforcing a series of traffic blockades and shutdowns in Bangladesh to pressurize the Awami League government to declare fresh elections. The opposition, which boycotted the general elections last year, is demanding polls under a non-partisan caretaker system. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Thursday lashed out at the opposition for the crippling strikes. She said the BNP and its allies are carrying out genocide in the name of shutdown, and such situation is unacceptable. She also claimed that the people of Bangladesh are being made to pay for the BNP's mistake of boycotting the general elections in 2014. The pronged shutdowns have taken a toll on the country's economy that had showed signs of improvement following the relative peace after the elections. Industrialists have complained that global firms have shifted their production to other countries as the blockade made it impossible for orders to be shipped on time.
After nearly 2 months of uncertainty over formation of the provincial government, India's northern Jammu and Kashmir is all set to have its new government. The People's Democratic Party BJP alliance will assume office on Sunday.
Jammu and Kashmir's Chief Minister designate Mufti Mohammad Saeed met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in capital New Delhi on Friday. Accepting Saeed's invitation, Prime Minister Modi will attend his oath-taking ceremony on Sunday in Srinagar. The PDP and BJP had formally announced the formation of a coalition earlier this week, nearly 2 months after the results were announced. The two parties have also agreed upon a common minimum program for governance in the Himalayan province. However, the two parties, which are known to have contrasting views on many key issues, have not disclosed more details on the agreement.
Prime Minister knows the issues, I know the issues, और इसमें सहमति हुई है वो पहली तारीख को जब स्वेरिंग सेरेमनी के बाद हमने 3 बजे वहाँ प्रेस रखी है, उसका हम बता देंगे। प्राइम मिनिस्टर का भी ख्वाब है, मेरा भी है, जम्मू कश्मीर को अमन और आशांति का गहवारा बनाना, आइलैंड ऑफ पीस।
The BJP said the formation of the new government is in accordance with the mandate of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
मेरे ख्याल से लोकतांत्रिक प्रक्रिया के अंतर्गत जो जिस प्रकार का जनमत प्राप्त हुआ है जम्मू कश्मीर की विधानसभा में, एक विचित्र बहुमत था, उसका सम्मान करते हुए दोनों क्षेत्रों को, बल्कि तीनों क्षेत्रों को उपयुक्त प्रतिनिधित्व देते हुए यह निर्णय किया गया। इससे बेहतर निर्णय प्रजातांत्रिक मूल्यों को ध्यान में रख करके नहीं हो सकता था।
The December elections had resulted in a hung assembly with no party in a condition to stake claim to form the next government. The PDP was the single largest party with 28 legislators. The BJP came second with 25 seats. This is only the second time that the BJP is becoming a part of the provincial government in Jammu and Kashmir. The party, which swept the general elections last year with a historic mandate and wins in subsequent provincial polls, had laid out an ambitious plan to capture power in the province for the first time. Despite the party's poster boy Prime Minister Modi leading the campaign, it fell short marginally.
A prominent Bangladeshi writer and blogger was hacked to death by unidentified men in capital Dhaka late on Thursday. Avijit Roy, a Bangladesh-born US citizen who was known for his writing against religious fundamentalism, was attacked while he was returning from a book fair in Dhaka. Roy shot into fame through his Bengali language blog Muktamona or Free Mind, which criticized religious extremism. No groups have claimed responsibility for the incident so far. Following his murder, civil society held a demonstration in Dhaka, denouncing the killing and seeking action against those responsible. The government in Islamabad may soon lose the control on insurgency-hit Balochistan province if the issue is not settled according to the wishes of the people, Baloch leaders have warned. They also accuse the Pakistan government of large-scale human rights violations in the province in the name of anti-militancy operations.
Baloch wouldn't wait beyond 2015 to see a permanent settlement for their many decades-long demand, Mohyuddin Baloch, prince of the erstwhile Kalat royal family, has said. He also said that people of Balochistan have so far kept restraint at the request of nationalist leaders, but post-2015, the situation might get out of control. Mohyuddin Baloch claimed that so far more than 5,000 Baloch nationalists have been killed and over 10,000 others have been held in detention by Pakistan Army and its intelligence agencies. The Baloch people, who claim that their province was illegally occupied by Pakistan in 1948, have been demanding independence from Islamabad for decades. They accuse the Pakistani government of exploiting the rich mineral resources of Balochistan to benefit other parts of the country without paying due royalties to the locals. Balochistan, which is geographically the largest province of Pakistan, is also its least developed. The years of neglect has forced the Baloch people to hit the streets seeking their rightful share. However, successive Pakistan governments have tried to brush aside the demand and use force to crush the rebellion. The violent crackdown by the military and other security agencies have forced many Baloch leaders to flee the country and seek refuge in foreign countries.
At least 367,000 children under the age of 5 have missed out on receiving polio vaccination in the latest anti-polio drive in Pakistan, health authorities have said. The drive, aimed at completely covering the population under 5 years, failed after parents refused to vaccinate the children despite large-scale awareness programs by the government. Many in Pakistan refuse their children to be vaccinated against a crippling disease because of fear of attacks from extremists. Militant groups, including the Pakistan Taliban, have imposed a ban on polio vaccination, calling it a Western plot to sterilize Muslims. They have also repeatedly targeted polio volunteers, killing more than 60 people in the past 5 years. This has resulted in a spike in polio cases reported in Pakistan in recent years. As the holiday season began in most parts of India, adventure sports lovers are packing the bags to embark on an adventure ride in the hill stations of northern India. Take a look.
Amid high cliffs, snow-capped mountains, sheer slopes and beautiful scenic meadows, adventure seekers are in for some thrill in India's northern Himachal Pradesh. Local authorities in Shimla are organizing a skiing camp for youth in an attempt to encourage and develop adventure sport among youngsters. The 2-week-long event provided a joyride to adventure seekers from all across the country. The instructor of the camp said the course trains them at a professional level.
14 दिन का कोर्स है, बेसिक कोर्स हमारा टूरिज्म की ओर से। तो छोटे से लेकर बड़े तक इनको हम 14 दिन में इतना ट्रेन कर देते हैं। स्नो प्लो टर्न, स्नो प्लो किस तरह रुकना है, किस तरह चलना है। ये अभी तो ग्राउंड में थोड़े मतलब 1-2 दूसरे तीसरे दिन करते करते हम इनको ऊपर पहुँचा देते हैं 200-250 मीटर तक। तो वहाँ से इतने अच्छे स्की करके आते हैं लोग। इनके पीछे हमारे जो पीछे बड़े बड़े लोग हैं वो भी इनको देख के आ जाते हैं।
The camp is seeing scores of people from across the country flocking to be a part of the sports. Many students said the camp has many health benefits too.
ये कोर्स हमारे लिए बहुत हेल्पफुल है, स्पेशली हमारी हेल्थ के लिए, क्योंकि घर पे जो होता है हम लोग टीवी में टाइम वेस्ट कर देते हैं, इंडोर गेम्स ज़्यादा खेलते हैं, बट यहाँ पे लाइक आप देख रहे हो नेचर इज़ सो गुड आउट है, तो हम लोगों की हेल्थ के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। लाइक मोर ऑक्सीजन इनहेल हो रहा है हमारा इन 14 डेज में, ये बहुत हेल्पफुल है हमारे लिए।
Shimla, also known as the Queen of the Hills, is a popular destination among adventure enthusiasts for various sports like trekking, mountain climbing, river rafting, skiing, paragliding and angling.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. India to have a growth rate of 8.5%, says Economic Survey ahead of general budget. Death toll in Afghanistan avalanche crosses 220. And new provincial government in India's Jammu and Kashmir to be sworn in on Sunday. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.